It's really important that you're always holding the guitar correctly. Good posture, good hand positions are really going to affect the sounds that you're making. So run kind of a checklist every time we begin each day. Check through your hand positions, make sure they're exactly where they need to be. If you get off to a good start every day, you're going to be in really good shape for learning a lot of songs. Now, you probably have seen a lot of guitar players, we cross our legs. By crossing our legs, it props the guitar up a little bit higher. It gives us a little bit more freedom of space right in here and allows us to be a little bit more flexible. I also encourage you to push your guitar neck forward just a little bit. This has a lot of advantages. One is it keeps your hand, your left hand, your fretting hand, out in front. And it also allows your right hand to just sort of come over the guitar a little bit more easily. Now, on an acoustic, it's a bit bulkier, so it's going to be a little different. But with the electric, as you can see, my right hand is just pretty much parallel to the strings. Posture is really important. We all have a tendency to want to look over the guitar like this and try and see where our fingers are. When you do that, your arm comes up, this angle becomes much harder. It's really important that you try to just stay behind it and make sure that your fingers are where they need to be without leaning over and looking at it. That's going to really affect your positions and your comfort. You want to remain loose, comfortable, relaxed, then you'll sound better. It's amazing. Take the tension out of your body and you'll just sound a whole lot better. Let's talk a little bit about the specifics of exactly how the hands should be. We're going to start with the left hand, and what I want you to do is make sure that you keep your fingers close to the ends of the frets. Whenever you put a finger down, automatically try and get it closer to the ends of the frets. You also want to use your fingertips when you're pressing, and you only want to press as hard as you need to in order to get a clean sound. Again, it's all about staying relaxed. You can really hear the tension when you're pressing hard. Let's take a close look at the left hand so you can really see what I'm talking about. Now, when you're putting a finger down, as I said, you want to use your fingertip. So put it right down with a nice arch in your hand. Imagine that you're holding an egg right here in your palm. That will give you the right amount of space. Push down and then slide your finger just towards the end. It shouldn't be on the fret, but anywhere in the second half of the fret. When you're in the first half, you're going to get a buzz. So always try and place your fingers in the second half of the fret. Keep in mind, that won't always be possible with some chords. If you look here, my first finger has no choice but being in the first half of this fret. That's okay. Sometimes there have to be exceptions to the rules. It's just the way it is. Another thing I want you to look at is the placement of your thumb on your left hand. If you can see, I'm keeping it just about halfway up, and I'm keeping it vertical, okay? It's pointing at the ceiling. That's important. You do not want your thumb to come to the side like that, or even the other way, because it causes your wrist to become very awkward. So keep it straight, keep it relaxed. Imagine that you're just grabbing the guitar with your middle finger and your thumb, you're pinching the neck, and you're holding an egg in your hand. If you can think about those three things, you're going to have really good hand positions for your left hand. Again, you want to press as hard as you need to get a good sound, but don't press too hard. Many beginning guitar players, they press too hard and you can really hear that tension. Okay, let's go back and take a little look at how the right hand needs to be. Again, as much as possible, you want your right arm to be parallel with the strings, just an extension of them. With an acoustic, it's unavoidable because of the width of the guitar that you're going to have an angle. But by pushing the guitar forward a little bit, as I mentioned earlier, it becomes easier to have this relaxed right hand position. This is important because when we're strumming, you don't want the strum to be in the elbow. This is not the motion you want. The motion you want is in the wrist. See the difference? The elbow versus the wrist. As they say, it's all in the wrist. So that's the way you want to approach this. Let's take a close look at my hand too, so you can really see how the pick should be held. Now, the way I always tell students to place the pick is to put your hand out like this and curl your fingers in like that. Okay, you're making a loose fist. Take your pick and you just place it right on top. Okay, see, it's balanced there because of the curl of my fingers. Now all I've got to do is just put my thumb down. I don't have to hold it tightly. I can keep it very loose. Just the weight of my thumb is preventing the pick from falling out. Again, stay loose. It'll sound so much better. Then when you're strumming, again, it's all in the wrist. You see how my wrist just moves? That's exactly what you want to do. And even when you don't have a guitar in your hand, practice this motion. You don't want it to be in the elbow. And another thing you don't want is a twisting of the wrist like that. It's not meant to be twisted, but rather just to pivot up and down like that. Keep it loose and you'll have great sounding chords. Finally, always make sure that the guitar neck is slightly elevated from the floor. You don't want the headstock to sink down to the floor. That causes unnecessary strain on your left hand. Keep it up, keep it relaxed, keep it a little bit forward, and you'll do fine.